hubs. We're here. It's John, the husband, and Whitney, and we're doing a video on Get to Know Us Q&A.
Yeah, so we thought that this would be a good time to answer some of your questions that we've been receiving through the comments, and so we thought, well, we're starting to get to know you guys, but how well do you guys really know us? And so we wanted to answer some of those questions, make a video about it.
Yes, that's what we decided to do. So let's do it. Let's jump right in.
Okay. First question, how old are you?
How old am I?
How old are you?
40. It's been a while. 44? Is that right?
I don't know how old you are.
I'm really good at math normally. Let's say 44. 44 sounds right.
Are you sure?
Right. I don't know.
How old are you?
Okay, let me put it together.
I think you'll be
44.
44.
44.
Wait, you are 44 now?
No, I think I'll be 44.
I think you'll be 44 too. Okay, so he is 44. Thankfully, my math is on point. And I will be 29 in September. So, oh, and here's an interesting fact. We both have September birthdays. And they're, how many, like a week apart? 8 days apart. So our birthdays are always back to back, and it's a good time celebrating.
I take all of my birthday money and I have 8 days to turn into birthday wonder for her.
That's an investment. What are your hobbies?
I like to read. I like to read. And I like to play with the kids, and I do a lot of geeky things. I like science. I have a science background, so I try and keep current on things that are going on, but I also like geeky science fiction and the comic book movies and those types of things. So there you go.
You sound like you.
I'm pretty sure all that was sports.
My hobbies. I don't really have any except for YouTube. That is my current obsession, current hobby, current creative outlet. I love making the videos. I like editing them, and I love making videos with my husband, and it's just a fun creative outlet for me. If I could have any hobby in the world without any type of like time restriction or money, it would be horseback riding, hands down, all the way. I love riding horses. I used to do it a lot whenever I was a kid. I went to some camps, and I went to an equestrian college for a little bit, and it was just an amazing time. I love it, and that would be like my favorite hobby. But for now, right now, all my hobbies include YouTube. Who is your favorite author or musician?
Okay, much like last answer, you're gonna have to fast forward through about half of what I'm about to say, because it's gonna take a long time.
Alright, well just pick one. Just pick one. One.
Okay.
I'm thinking like overall all-time favorite.
That is really tough. Okay, so instead of an overall all-time favorite, I'm gonna do an overall all-time favorite book. Because it's from an author that if you know him, you probably don't know that he writes like this. So I'm gonna pick the book Galilee by Clive Barker, and it is sweeping and epic, and it has a romance that expands beyond time, and it's science fiction-y, and there's some other elements there. And it's a historical piece for the most part, so all the way around, all the check marks for what makes a boring and terrible book, it has all of those.
Except for romance, it's not so boring.
And also, this is early on in his career where he was a true student of literature, so there are a lot of like page-and-a-half long sentences that just go on forever, and it's stuff that I really enjoy, but most people would probably burn the book before they finish it. So that's what I'm going to say as my favorite book.
I'm going to answer my favorite musician just because it is much easier. I have a very direct answer for that one versus favorite author. I think that my favorite musician has to be Lana Del Rey. Like, I am obsessed. I love every single thing that she has put out. I've never seen her in concert, but would love to. And I'm currently working on getting all of her records, like all of her vinyl records. So that is my all-time favorite musician, Lana Del Rey. What is your favorite movie?
Can you go first? I'm gonna need to think about this for a minute.
Oh, geez. Okay, so immediately what comes to mind is Great Gatsby, and it's funny because Lana, the new one, Lana has some music in that, and I think that really just ties it all together for me. I absolutely love that movie. But a very close contender, and we just saw this movie, is A Star is Born, the most recent version of that as well, with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. Those two movies, I would have to say, are at, pretty neck and neck with each other. I've seen Gatsby probably 100 times or more, but I've only seen A Star is Born like once, so I think that Gatsby would have to win out with that. I haven't had enough time to watch A Star is Born, but I will say, when I went to see Gatsby in the theater, I cried like the first 3 times that I went to go see it. I cried those 3 times. Like, it is such a moving and beautiful piece, and I just think that they absolutely did a phenomenal job in that movie.
Okay, so I'm going to get around to the answer, but I need to do a little before story. So I used to have a lot more free time than I do now, and I would watch movies endlessly and read and take in all of this information and all of this entertainment. And so I have this giant warehouse of movie memories in my brain. And I have been systematically over the years trying to expose Whitney to some of these movies that I know from the past. And we will find time, not too often, but when we have an opportunity, we'll find time and we'll sit down and we'll watch one of these movies. So this is probably an evolving answer, but my answer right now, which again is a little strange and will probably surprise some people if they haven't seen it in a long time, is Jaws. And my reason for that is it's not scary shark in the water Jaws, it's the characters in Jaws are really, really well defined. They all have very strong and noticeable personalities. The dialogue is really good. The environment of Cape Cod and Nantucket is really well done. Just everything about that movie I truly enjoyed. The interaction of all the different characters and the way that they move forward through the story I think is really solid, and I could watch it probably 3 times in a row and not get bored with it.
Baby shark. Where do you live?
I mean, all over the place, I think. I don't have a good answer to that.
I hope he knows where we live. Oh my, I have to get him checked out. We live in the United States and we live in Pennsylvania. We are very close to New York, like the Pennsylvania-New York border. And is that where you want to be?
Well, I mean, I think it depends on the direction of
life,
the future.
Yeah.
Opportunities abound everywhere.
Yeah, so we're just kind of seeing what direction life takes us, and we'll go from there. But for now, we're in Pennsylvania. What is your favorite childhood memory?
That is a really tough question. I did not know these questions in advance.
Yeah.
So
I at least had a chance to write them down. So I'll start with this one. I don't even know that it's necessarily like my favorite childhood memory, but this is by far the most prominent childhood memory. Is when I was growing up, I lived in a house with my grandma. My cousins would come over and she would watch them, as well as myself and my brother, and so it was always really rowdy. There's always a lot of kids going on, and someone had a knack for getting into trouble. That was me. And so whenever my grandma would correct me or, chastise me, I would get so upset by that, and I would go upstairs and I would run into my mom's room and just lay on her bed, and I can very clearly remember her pillows smelled like almost like coconut. It was like that Paul Mitchell coconut smell. And the one day I can just remember being so upset. I don't know what it was about or what for, but I was so upset. I was just crying, and I ran upstairs and laid on my mom's pillow, and just like everything felt like it was gonna be better when my mom came home.
Completely. I was not influenced in any way. I wasn't often, but a good bit, I was left with my grandparents because they lived nearby, and it allowed my parents the opportunity to get things done. My grandparents loved me. My grandmother and I got along very, very well, and we had this pattern. I'm kind of stuck in my ways with a lot of things, and it started with her, where I would come and visit, and I would always get SpaghettiOs. So, you know, that was a good memory for me. I knew if I was going over there, lunch was going to be SpaghettiOs, or dinner was going to be SpaghettiOs and lunch was going to be McDonald's. One of those two variations. And I had a coloring book that she would have me color in, way past where kids really enjoy coloring anymore, but I would do it for her because she really liked it, and she'd put them on the refrigerator. And years later, when I was in college and my grandparents passed away, they passed away fairly suddenly within a week of one another. I went to the house and was going through things and found a collection of the colored sheets, and also in the kitchen behind one of the cabinets was a big stack of canned SpaghettiOs. So I know that those memories were as strong for her as they were for me. So that's probably my favorite childhood memory. Oh, sorry. I'll ask the next question, give Whitney a moment. So
I don't need a moment.
Who has influenced you most in your life? Oh, I'll answer first. So this is probably an evolving answer as well. I mean, as most things are, as you get further along in life. But I think, honestly, there are a few, and they've all educated me in some way. I usually get the most value out of someone when I'm learning something as our relationship develops. And so I think there were a few professors in college that I would put up there as major influencers. There were a few bosses that I've had in my life. But the really interesting thing is, way back, my very first job, I had a manager who, I mean, honestly, I don't think I was very good at my job when I started, and probably shouldn't have kept me. But, you know, we had an interesting relationship, and so he did, and he put up with the fact that I was a little too involved in some projects that should be done quickly, and a little less involved in some projects that you should take your time. And I learned a few things from him. One was, it's not that big a deal. Whatever it is, it's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. If the building's on fire, it can only burn to the ground. There's nowhere else for it to go. And then we rebuild. If you can go through all of these things and still say, you know, it's okay, that's a beautiful thing. We're here to perform a job, but this isn't our life. And I need you to be safe. When I go home at night, I need to know that everybody who works here with me and works for me are safe. It was the first time that I heard someone value safety and security over a material item. I have taken that with me my whole life. The people that are in your life and are important, keep them safe. And everything else is, you know, it'll fall into place. Your turn.
I can't follow that up. Are you serious? Has influenced me the most in life? I would probably have to say my ex-husband. Now, you guys probably don't know, I don't think we've ever shared this before. So John and I were both previously married, and both have children who didn't originate in this marriage. So with my ex-husband, he took me from a place where I was just like this empty shell of a person. Like, I didn't really understand life. I didn't understand who I was or who I wanted to be, or, you know, where I was going or my place in this world. And he taught me a lot about the person that I want to become. And it certainly wasn't like all in good ways. You know, there were some really hard lessons thrown in there, some very hard challenges in that situation, but I think overall he is the one who has had the most impact over time, and still to this day, like, I carry so much of what I've learned going through all of that into who I am as a person.
Wow. Sounds like a pretty good guy.
Not as good as you.
Wow.
What experience has had the most impact on your life?
Oh, me first? Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Mm-hmm. I'll go first. I guess that's the order. So, you know, again, obviously there's a lot of things that make us who we are. You know, I think, you know, Whitney touched on the fact that we were both married before, and I think I'm going to say the greatest impact thing for me was actually meeting and falling in love with her, because I had decided on a direction of my life. After the divorce, I kind of decided that was my life. I was the divorced dad. I love my son so much, and I thought this can be the direction of my life. So I found a place that was near work, and I got a nice little, you know, apartment near DC. And,
oh, I thought you were going to talk about the motel. I was going to say that was not nice.
No. And you know, sort of settled in, and I had my routine. I told you I'm kind of a master of developing routines. You know, everything got cleaned at a certain time, and the house had a certain order.
Here's, if I can just do a little interjection. So whenever we first met, I am the queen of not having a routine. I like change, I like to mix things up, I like to be very spontaneous and irrational, and just like routine scares the heck out of me. And I can remember clearly one time when we were dating, dinner was supposed to be at 6, and I didn't pick up on all these signals and cues that John was getting like stressed out, that it was getting later and later and later and later and later. And that was the time that we had our oldest with us, and poor John, I mean, he darn near had a meltdown because it was getting late and dinner was not at 6. But at the time I didn't understand.
Kids need a schedule.
Kids need a schedule.
So, in any case, so I had this life that had no color to it all. It was very bland, it was very boring, and it followed a very specific schedule all the time. And I basically was just traveling through life. I wasn't really doing anything, I wasn't really experiencing anything. And then all of a sudden, you know, I met Whitney, and everything became colorful. You know, the world became brighter, and I saw things that I probably walked by 100 times and never saw through those eyes. And it's just been a new experience every day for me. And so the thing that what was the exact influenced my life the most? That was the moment that was most influential, because everything has been different since then.
I know. Well, now I'm gonna just be like, sound like I'm stealing your answer, because I mean, it's true. It's true. Whenever you meet the person that you are supposed to walk through this life with, it changes your world, and it changes everything. And I am a much better person because of John every single day. You know, he shows me how to be kind and how to be patient, and just how to get to that place where everything is okay. Everything is okay.
Good answer.
Ooh, so this next question I thought was a really good question for us to ask you. We'll answer it as well. But, you know, part of us wanting to get to know you guys is this can't just be like a one-sided conversation. So the question is what is your biggest passion? So drop a comment down below and tell us, like, what is your guys' one greatest passion? Like, where do you feel like when you walk in this area of your life, you just become more alive and just more invigorated, and it just touches your soul? So what is your biggest passion?
I will say that my biggest passion is my wife. I get a different energy from Whitney. You know, she just has a way of sparking something, and
I'm feisty.
it can be, yeah, I mean, it can be anything from I walk into the room and she jumps on my back, and now we're, you know, riding around the room or dancing or whatever it is, to just I look over and there she is with that look, and it's just it's a different type of energy, and that's what really gets me charged.
All right, but what is your greatest passion? Like, besides your family, because family is first. Like, what is the one thing, like, when you do it, you're in your own space?
Wow, that's a tough one. I mean, we talked about this the other day. Writing, I think, is a way for me to take, I mean, if you hear the way that I talk, I think a lot about what I'm saying as I'm saying it. There are directions that get changed, and the sentences start one place and end somewhere else. Writing is an opportunity for me to take all of that and streamline it so that it's coherent instead of all the babbling that I'm doing right now. So that's probably my passion, is to be able to take what is in my head but I can't get out to you and turn it into something that I can get to you, that makes sense, and it's on the page and you can go over it and absorb it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I would have to say that my one greatest passion, mostly always been fashion, although, you know, I wasn't always good at it. Not really, not at all for a long time, especially high school. Those were some pretty rough years. But I think that I feel the most in my element whenever I feel like I'm expressing myself through my clothing, because I just feel like that is the very one way that you can tell the world a part of your story without saying anything at all. For me, it's definitely been a way to help find my community and find people who inspire me and people to relate to, and it's just where I feel like I'm in my own.
Okay, so
how did we meet?
I saw her at a restaurant.
Oh no, it wasn't a restaurant. Let's be frank. It was a bar.
They
It
have
was a
food.
bar.
They have food there.
Of course they have food at a bar, because when you drink, you want to eat.
Delicious food, by the way. And-
So, yeah, well, let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so the short answer is we met at a bar. The longer answer is I had just recently moved down to that area outside of DC and was trying to make some new girlfriends, and so they invited me to go out with them for like happy hour after work. I don't normally do that type of thing, but I thought if I'm going to make friends, I at least have to put in some type of effort somewhere. So I ended up going out with them that night, or that afternoon.
Okay. And I'll even rewind a little bit more than that. I actually saw Whitney there, I don't know, what was it, maybe a week prior, and I thought, I have never seen a woman that looked like that before, and in a good way, And so I was intrigued by that, and I kind of put it in the back of my brain and forgot about it, and then I was there again, and I saw her with some friends, and I didn't know what to do, so I complimented her friend on her backpack so that I had a reason to talk to the group. And then we had a conversation that ran very, very long, and the rest is history.
What do you like the most about him or her? This one's a very easy question for me to answer. Do you want me to go first?
Oh, sure. If you're ready, go.
Yeah.
Fire away.
So the thing I like the most about John is he is such a softie. Such a softie. His heart is just made of gold. There is not one, character flaw in him, and He's just an easy man to love. He's so patient. Wait, this sounds like more than one thing. But but just that he has a pure heart. And that is what guides him in life and through any tough situation. And it's just, I'm in awe of my husband, and I admire him for his ability to stay soft and stay true and genuine in a world like we live in, where it's very easy to become bitter.
I like most about Whitney is that she is just a joy to experience. There's just something about her. I don't know that I can define it or pinpoint it to you, but I can tell you that I have been out in the world with her, and other people recognize it. We'll do something and then it'll just be me and someone talking, and they'll say, "Oh, she's so wonderful," or "Oh, I think she's just amazing," or whatever it is. And it's true. There's just something that I can't necessarily define, but she just has this wonderful presence, and I never get tired of being around her. I never want to take a break and go do something else. If there's an opportunity to spend time with one another, I'm spending that time with her, and I'm appreciating those moments. I think I mentioned that I'm away a lot, and it's difficult sometimes, and it's wonderful to be back and to see her, and occasionally she'll leave these really interesting messages for me, making it clear that I'm not getting back quickly enough. And so, like
voicemails, yeah. I'll call them. I do. We miss each other. When we're away from each other, it's just the worst. And so I'll call them and be, "All right, guess you're not coming home tonight."
And I leave. Well, I'm not allowed to leave messages.
Oh, I hate listening to voicemails.
Yeah. But when I leave a message, I try and make it be interesting enough and maybe a little bit funny, so it sticks to the person and it sticks in their mind, so they remember to contact me or call me back. And it's just habit. But there's something about even a message from her that makes me think, okay, I gotta get this done a little bit faster so I can get back a little bit faster. Or I'm gonna call as soon as I'm done this thing because I want to hear that voice live. So that's my answer. It's just her way. It's just her being.
And the very last question is, what is the secret to your marriage?
Do you know? I don't.
I think I got it figured out. At least it's something you do daily. It's something I'm striving to do.
I think that it's being malleable. I think it's, when one person is frustrated, the other person is comforting. And when one person is too excited, the other person says, "Whoa." And
there's no such thing as too excited. Yeah. I feel personally attacked by that statement. And
so I think that's, you become the other part of that piece. So you sort of keep each other moving forward, and you keep a healthy growth. I don't know, that sounded better in my head, but I think you learn to be that other part, the other half. For real, you just, this is what my wife needs right now, so this is what I am, and you just do it.
So there's a saying floating around the internet where it says marriage isn't 50-50. Divorce is 50-50. Marriage is 100-100. And to me, that is absolutely true. It's two people giving it 100% of everything that they have. And the one thing that I see John do daily, hourly, by the minute is he serves his family. And I think that is what I aspire to do, you know, is to serve him and serve our family. Because yes, you have to take care of yourself, but like, he is the head of our household. And so whenever we are serving him, we are moving much more smoothly and in a great direction in our lives whenever our leader is taken care of. And I just think that with marriage, it's like both of those people are serving the other person with everything that they have, whether it be through, you know, small insignificant tasks throughout the day, like, honey, give me some water.
There's a lot of that.
Will you get me a drink? Or whether it's through loving each other, you know, physically being close to each other, or giving gifts to one another. It's like you are just always excited to do something special for the person that you love. And I think that if you both can remember that and to keep that in balance, I think that it'll lead to a very happy and wonderful marriage.
Don't forget there's a giveaway.
Oh yeah? What is it?
Something really good. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below and tell us what you think of this. And if I ever have to do this again, feel free to say, worst part of that video was your husband. You need to start doing more solo work. That's it. Just don't forget the giveaway, like and subscribe, comment below. How'd I do? Did I hit all of it?
It's all very formulated. It's all very formulated. But yeah, you did a good job.
Thanks.
Welcome. Bye, guys.
Oh, okay. No, I'm buttoning.
No, I'm buttoning.
Yeah. It was already
Even
unbuttoned. There, that's good. That's good. Whoa, 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 whoa,
Okay,
whoa, whoa.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Okay. She dropped the question.
Don't tell them that.
Oh, sorry.
You were very hot and you put up a lot of heat.
Oh, I put up a lot of
You
these?
put up a lot of heat.
As passionate folk, we burn hot. Okay. We'll see the way that the world goes.